Hello Gemini, and welcome to your reading, your late reading for June 2019. Apologies for the lateness of this reading. My name is Melanie. This is a general reading for Gemini Sun, Moon and Rising sign people. So given it's general, it may or may not resonate. Of course, I recommend you just take what you like and leave the rest, and maybe check your other Sun or Moon or Rising signs if it's not quite resonating, or any of the other wonderful YouTube tarot readers out there. So let's get started for June for Gemini. So in the first card there, representing the past, any past energies that may be relevant for this month, you guys have the Queen of Swords. The second card being about current issues, current situation this month, the Nine of Wands card came through for you. The third card along, representing any possible obstacles for this month, the Hierophant card. The fourth card being about possible helpful tools this month, the Four of Wands card came out. And the outcome card for this month for Geminis is the Ace of Coins, otherwise known as the Ace of Pentacles. And that final card there, lying down on its own from a different deck that I use more like oracle cards, that one's called Sun, and that's about fertility. And I'll be reading about that card from a booklet at the end of the reading. So let's just dive right in. So the first card you have there representing past energy that may be relevant in some way for this month. You have the Queen of Swords. Swords are to do with our minds, thinking, words, ideas, beliefs, communication, air signs as well. You may have been dealing with an air sign woman, air signs being Gemini, like you guys, Gemini, Libra and Aquarius. So this could be you. In the past, it could be a woman that you knew in the past, or somebody who embodies the energies of this, or it can be just a completely different situation. So the Queen of Swords is a quick thinker. She is a woman with a perspective. She's very organized, she's wise, she has got strength coming from within. She's very intelligent, she's independent. She can sometimes have quite a cool exterior, but inside she's quite soft and actually quite fragile. There's a sense of this with this card of transformation, of having gone through something quite difficult. The Queen of Swords has gone through sometimes a loss, or she's been mourning in some way. There's a sense of famine in her past, but she has transformed that, and she's come out on top in a very kind of strong way, because she's been able to better herself. She's ruled by her ideas, and that drives her heart forward. She's a very good communicator. She can help others, she can help them organize their lives, and she's had a lot of experience and a lot of good times and bad times behind her. But she can be, like I said, a person in your life who has been very helpful to you, who may even be a therapist or a counsellor in some way, who's provided assistance. There's a sense of being able to think very clearly with this card, and being sort of now at peace, and being able to keep a level head about yourself, and a positive mind about something. Sometimes with this card too, you've been able to see past the illusions of life. And you're able to be quite clear in your thinking, and rise above kind of frivolous matters and silly matters, because you've been through some stuff and you know what's really important and what's not, and now you can think very clearly about that, and are in quite a protective, there's a protective element of that now, of self-protection and of being able to protect and look out for others. So, I don't know, maybe you've been through something quite difficult, and now you've come to a real position of sort of clarity about that. You're more organised around something, you're feeling more confident, and you have a sort of a wisdom about something that you went through in the past. I wonder that because that second card along there, representing the current month, is the Nine of Wands. This card is about being nearly at the end of something, at the end of a journey, but being really kind of battle weary, being pretty exhausted, standing up for what you believe in, and having real strength in that, real stamina, being very disciplined in overcoming some battles, you know, whether that's a health battle or you know, an illness, conflict, an accident. It's a card of success after setbacks, which reminds me of the Queen of Swords, in that she has been through some difficulties and maybe even some losses and some really tough things. And with this card we have that showing up again of being quite resilient. This is a card of resilience, of persistence, and of nearly being at the end, of kind of resting right now and being quite weary. But this is a card to remind you to push on, because you're nearly there. Take your time to gather up your strength again, and then on you go. This is kind of the last push before getting to that finish line, the finish line, the number 10. You know, this is the number 9. This is about preparing and planning, and having strength in adversity, and being well prepared, and being able to manage the delays and setbacks that you've had to go through, and some of the battles being a real test of faith, it seems. But you're nearly at the end. You're making some good choices from yourself. You've gained some sort of mastery over something in your life right now, and you're just kind of recouping and resting a bit before pushing on. And you need to push on. You're nearly there. The third card along there, representing what may be an obstacle this month, you have the Hierophant card. So the Hierophant is a card of marriage sometimes, but of traditions, of conventions, conformity, well-established, well-structured systems, institutions, organizations, such as churches, universities, you know, places of learning, of tradition, of beliefs, of firm structures, where there's kind of no deviation from the system. There's kind of no free thinking. Everything is already set out, and everything's well established in these kind of institutions and these traditions. This can be a card about religion. You know, there's the Pope or a priest there on that card. Can be about the power of prayer, but it also is very much about hierarchies and systems and structures, and a degree of rigidity around that. Potentially also feeling a bit judged or a bit outcast because of wanting to break away from that, but being kind of denied that. I think this card though is a warning for you guys this month not to be too rigid and too structured, to not conform too much, or to not align yourself with too much with a system or structure that already exists, that has very firm laws and rules and philosophies that can be really good and positive. But you know, if they're too rigid and too structured, don't even think that you can go in there and sort of change things. You know, why fight that battle when it sounds like you have been going through a bit of a battle? So to either just stay away from that, or to be careful of your own either thinking or actions around something which are very restrictive or rigid in some way, that have very firm beliefs and ideas about something that you may not actually agree with. Be wary of that, or wary of other people or systems or structures that are like that, that are not going to work for you this month. What may be useful for you guys this month, we have another Wands card coming up, the Four of Wands card. This is quite a lovely card of celebration after hard times, of stability, of harmony. Again, another card of marriage, so that's interesting. Of progress kind of being made on a goal, and celebrating something new perhaps coming into your life, a new addition. Interesting that this is a it's a card of happiness really, and good times, and completion of hard work. But I'm just noticing that it's a 4 card. 4s are about stability and structure. You know, if we think about 4 legs on a table or a chair, they provide a good foundation, good solid stuff that's very consistent. And I'm just thinking, isn't that interesting? Because there's that sense of solidness and structure, but kind of rigid structure with the Hierophant card. And then here we are with the Four of Wands card, which is about, can also be about stability as well, and having a good base, and a good, but in a different way, in a very, very different way, actually. This is a much more light-hearted way, to do with harmony and socializing and celebration. So it looks like you kind of are wanting or needing some structure and stability, particularly if you've come through a bit of a hard time. It's just like, how do you go about establishing that? Don't get too structured and too aligned with a process or a system or an institution that is well established and not probably going to suit you that well, and instead get into much more light-hearted kind of energy or situation in your life to get that kind of sense of stability, because it looks like that is there, and you are very much wanting that, and to find it in sort of much more of a I don't know, way that's more to do with family and connections, or celebrations of some sort, to focus on the good stuff, focus on the good, focus on the progress, rather than being too caught up in sort of more of a heavier kind of energy. This is saying to lighten up, even if you're waiting for a conclusion. You're very much nearly there. I don't know if that quite makes sense, but anyway. Finally, the Ace of Pentacles, or the Ace of Coins, is the outcome card. So aces are, of course, about new beginnings, about gifts from the universe, some sort of offering that's coming in from the universe. Pentacles about solid things, tangible, practical things, finances, money, jobs, possessions, that kind of thing. So this Ace of Coins can be about prosperity, fulfillment, riches. Could be about something new or tangible or real coming into your life, such as a pregnancy or a birth. You know, but as a new start on something, a fresh start on something that is going to be very solid and produce sort of results, maybe in your work life or your financial life, or like I said, in perhaps the creation of a physical being, that would be a baby, manifesting something. There's a sense of real success and abundance with this card as a result of hard work. Quite an intense energy coming in with this card, but a very kind of solid and grounded one as well. A card of results, of getting where you want to be, and being on that path, and being kind of rewarded for that with this gift coming in from the universe. I'm thinking now, I'm about to read from the other book, the booklet to do with these other cards, that sun card there lying there called fertility, having just mentioned the possibility of birth and fertility. I guess one way you could read these cards is that you or your partner have been trying for a baby. It's been very difficult. Maybe there actually has been some losses, some pregnancy losses, and you've come through that. The Queen of Swords, currently feeling kind of worn down by that, quite battle weary. Maybe you have been using some assistance to fall pregnant. I'm thinking with the Hierophant there, maybe medical assistant, well-established ways to fall pregnant, I don't know, or going to church and praying a lot. However, that's not working, or there's too much reliance on that, and there's a sense of kind of needing to lighten up in some way. I don't think I'm saying that well or correctly, but there's something to do with the Four of Wands card there that may be quite much more helpful. And then finally, of course, you have the Ace of Pentacles card there, offering like a gift from the universe of possibly a baby. It doesn't, I'm just thinking, of course it doesn't have to be a baby. This could be a project that you've been working on, that you've wanted to create and birth and bring to life, and boy has it been a real struggle. But it looks like this month you may get some good news coming from the divine. I really hope so. Now I'm just going to read, I am going to read from this book, Dreamtime Reading Cards. Dreamtime is the Aboriginal Australian spiritual belief system. I love these cards. I love the images, the pictures, the dot paintings, very typical of Aboriginal paintings, and I love the words and the meanings. So I'm just going to read now about sun and fertility. In some Aboriginal cultural groups, the sun, rather than being associated with masculinity, is described as female. The sun was considered the great mother, giver of life and warmth, and nourisher of the earth. Often these groups were matrilineal societies where knowledge was passed down from mothers and aunts to the next generation. The sun is associated with warmth and nurturing, the fertile womb, and the mother, the one who brings new life. The sun promises a second chance and is a warming reminder that tomorrow is another day. In the morning the sun will rise and a brand new day will begin, full of potential and warmth. I really see that in the Ace of Coins card there. Australia is a harsh continent and often affected by long periods of drought. At its most dangerous, the sun can burn, dry out, and kill livestock and leave the landscape barren. And the Queen of Swords, she may be a barren woman or a widow, you know, or has not been able to be fertile in some way. This is a reminder that it is not possible to live continuously in the light and warmth. You must also spend time in the darkness of night and the cooling retreat of the shade. Often the best times to benefit from the sun are to connect with it at sunrise and sunset. These times, when the sky glows with colour, are a very special time for personal reflection and promise. Wow, kind of powerful stuff. So look, Geminis, I wish you all the best for the rest of June. Looks like you've been through a real process and a real journey and a real struggle, and I really hope that your wish is granted this month somehow, and you get what you have been hoping for. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this reading. I'm very, very grateful. I hope to get the July readings out before July. So all the best for the rest of June. Take care.